appreciate the support that he mentioned for the plan to increase state employee wages. That was something that's very important, and to let you know why, in 2019 alone, the fiscal year, we believe we've not done the final tally, but we believe the cost of turnover at the Department of Transportation, we're cycling through about 700 people a year, and the cost of that turnover to you, the taxpayers, is about $45 million. The cost to fix that is about a third of it. So, you know, I always look for return on investment, and that's a really basic one. But it's also a difficult issue. People want budgets to be balanced, and they want government to be efficient. I can tell you that turning over at 15% and greater in some of our trades, we're turning over 30 and 40% a year. And that is not good news for our what we're focused on. But just maintaining conditions at their present state is an incredible trick for us with the resources we have. We try to do that reasonably well. We do end up with little sidebars like, you know, $80 to $100 million of flood damage that we're looking at right now. It's going to take a couple of years to recover from. But we also face very substantial issues in terms of the scale of the issue with bridges in this state. So not just the number of bridges, but the way we think of things, we always talk about the number of bridges, but it's really the unit price for us is the square footage of bridge deck. So in the last 20 years as a department, we replaced 1.2 million square feet of bridge deck. By age and condition, in the 20 years from where we stand forward, we have to replace 3 times that, 3.6 million square feet of bridge deck. And the 10 years after that, another 7.2 million. It doubles again after now. That's what's stressing the system. And that's why when you hear things like, we only have enough money in our current allocation of resources to this region to rehabilitate the Rocheport Bridge, that is not a preferred option for us. It's why we've been talking with the legislature. It's why we've been talking with others. It's why the legislature and Governor Parson really, even subsequent to a public rejection of a 10-cent gas tax increase in November, which would have funded actually about a quarter of the unfunded needs in the state over a 10-year period. That's the scale of what the gas tax was. Would have cost in the first couple of years the average driver about $1 a month. That's not only condition of the existing system, but improving the system to better perform for the economy that we have right now. So on scale, that's about $900 million a year short, between 8 to 9 to $10 billion over a 10-year period. That's the scale of the issue. A 10-cent gas tax increase, had it passed, would have brought in about $288 million net to the state, and certainly would have supported county and city investments in infrastructure as well. But the scale itself to fix the problem on a 10-year basis would require about a 35-cent gas tax increase. And you're seeing that throughout the nation. Illinois just increased their gas tax by 19 cents. Ours is 17. They increased theirs by 2 cents more than our base rate. Iowa had passed a 10-cent gas tax a couple of years ago, and on a revenue per mile basis, Iowa has 3 times the money that Missouri has. So they are making substantial improvements in I-80. Now Illinois is going to be meeting them with that type of investment. And you know, if you think that the scale of the need on improvements on I-70, never mind the Rocheport Bridge, but on I-70 in general, freight and logistics and industry flows like water. They will go to the path of least resistance. Low margin businesses will go where it costs the least to move shipping and traffic. And if we're not keeping pace, we're going to cede a major advantage that we have in this part of the country as well. That would bring us down to 1 lane, eastbound and westbound on I-70 for 7 to 9 months in the best of scenarios. It could extend to another construction season. Now, we've done traffic modeling on that, and that could contribute to 3 to 8 hour backups daily. So anywhere from backing up to Columbia all the way to Kingdom City.
Horribly detrimental to our Missouri economy as a whole. You divert a lot of traffic up to I-80, and it likely would never return to Missouri, and that's a major economic hit on the state. And that's when it became very clear, while education may take a hit with decreased funding and general revenue during that 7-year payback, the economic hit to the state would be much more significant. I find it very silly that here we are talking about, we know we have to have every solution on the table, but this, and you can't talk about this even. So, it was ultimately rejected on the House side, offered it in committee, and then again on the House floor. I'll continue to push it. Again, a language amendment, just removing the prohibition, even just study and talk about it and try to move forward.
He picked bridges that were already in that, and then as a substitute of funding, because that's already gone through the planning process, gone through the local process. What he wanted to do is accelerate work in rural Missouri. So we had to pick, we had smaller bridges, probably averaged about $1.5 million a piece, about 250 bridges that we would have been able to advance a year. And then the money made available by that is available through our capital planning. We allocate to our 7 regions, our maintenance districts, and we work with local officials through metropolitan planning organizations and regional planning commissions to determine project priority. What that would do is make for this region, because the central region draws about by traffic volume, by employment, by population, and by size of infrastructure, this region garners about 11% of the capital resources statewide.
It's just an anecdotal story that they weren't in there pushing for it, but yet they were getting a significant cut in corporate taxes.
Yeah, but how can these legislators hear what we just heard and not get it?
As more people have reached out to me, I am very much under the realization that we're ever going to see a third lane on I-70, it is going to be some type of toll road, toll expansion of I-70. And just the fight we had this year and in previous years of just getting rid of the language restrictions stripped out of House Bill 4. It's like touching the third rail in politics. It was wild, the amount of people who stood up and vehemently opposed removing that restriction.